Hello and welcome to today's Ladies Football Show on the 42 in conjunction with the LGFA. My name's Emma Duffy, I'm your host today, and I'm delighted to be joined in studio by Mayo manager Peter Leahy. How are we, Peter?
Hi Emma.
Good.
Great to be here.
Tricks?
Great to be on the show. I've been watching the show every time it's been on, so it's nice to actually be here.
Absolutely, great stuff. Well look, we're looking forward to a big weekend ahead, and I suppose yourselves, you're facing Cork on Sunday, but there's a big weekend of ladies football in general. 4 semi-finals. Double headers across Division 1 and 2, and then obviously not forgetting Division 3 and 4 as well. Yeah,
huge weekend, and I'm sure it didn't help the LGFA that it's obviously the April as well, and to get pitches with all championship matches throughout the country. So I mean, there was probably a little bit of a wait to see where the semi-finals were, but I know from Karen's point of view in the LGFA, I'm sure she had a nightmare going around trying to get pitches, but she's done a great job. She has us down in Burr, and she has Dublin in Kinnegad. So listen, she's done brilliantly.
Absolutely, and I suppose looking to your own match with Cork, it's kind of setting up to be a tasty affair.
Yeah, listen, Cork, let's be honest about it, Cork are the league champion. They're the league champions first of all, but their forte is obviously league and championship, because they don't seem to lose matches, you know. They have the winning way. They have the formula. They have a superb manager in Effie, who, like, Effie hasn't lost a league match yet, or hasn't lost a league series yet. So like he's won every one he's done. So listen, we're up against it. They're the benchmark that we go against. Definitely for league. I mean, if we're to look at championship, it's Dublin and Cork. But for league and other teams, by the way. But you know, they're the benchmarks. But for league, it's Cork. So listen, we're in no. We have no qualms about the fact that we're up against a top team.
Absolutely, and I suppose just looking at the last 2 times you've met during the league, there was a point between you. They came out on top last year, the All-Ireland semi-final, of course, in Berthney Park. You guys came out on top by a point, so we're looking towards coming right down to the wire again, I feel. Yeah,
well listen, sometimes scorelines deceive. You know, anyone who was down in Breffy Park last year would have seen a super game of football. It was a really, really good game of football. I thought we, as in Mayo, should have won by more at the time when we started off very well, and then Cork, of course, you let Cork in the door, and they're going to batter it down. And you know, in the end of the day, we actually, I would say, got a little bit lucky. We got not a fortuitous goal, but we got a good goal near the end that won it for us in the league match this year. I mean, the league is slightly different, and it's definitely differently for us, because I mean, Cork aren't setting up anywhere close to what they'd be doing in the championship, or neither are we. Like, we don't even record games because we're absolutely doing in the league is just to look at players, and that's what we're looking at doing. So I wouldn't take too much from what happened to us down in the league. I mean, we went in a point up in the league down in Cork, and Cork came out and blitzed us, and you know, we were playing defensively, and you know, we've changed our game since that, and you know, continually change it every week. So it's not going to be in any way just the same scenario come Sunday, I don't think.
Absolutely, and I suppose looking back at the league in general, you kind of mentioned how it's used for blooding players, testing players, experimental kind of times. Just looking back at the league as a whole, I suppose it was a bit of a mixed bag, but that's what happens. Yeah,
well listen, for me being a new manager, I mean, I coached last year, and it's a completely different thing to come in as manager. And to come in as manager, I brought a full new management team with me. So this is not about, you know, it's about learning. I mean, it's about learning about your coaches. It's about learning about your management team, and who are superb. Like, I mean, I went out and looked for a management team that, you know, apart from coaches, apart from everything, who all have something to play. And I'm not a big person in a big huge back team. I'm not into that kind of thing. I'm into keeping it tight, keeping it close, and keeping it real. And you know, each coach I have, like Micheál Reynolds, who's a football coach, is also a psychologist, a sports psychologist. So we use the sports psychology. Denise McDonough, who's won an All-Ireland for Mayo, Denise is coaching with me as well, and she's a selector, but she's also a nutritionist. So we use that end of it. And then we've Cian Brannock. Cian Brannock is a strength and conditioning coach, but he specialises in recovery, and he's brought stuff in recovery. We've got stuff in recovery that, say for example, Manchester City Football Club use. So like we're very advanced in that department. And then we've Michael McHale, who's superb, and Sinead Costello, who won 2 All-Irelands for Mayo. So we've a nice tight group.
Of course, and I suppose looking at the players as well, you know, there's kind of newer girls have stepped up to the scene this year and kind of really took the game by the scruff of the neck even.
Yeah, this is all about players, and at the end of the day it's about learning as we go along, and our girls are learning. I have to say possibly the best, and I mean I've been involved in the men's game a long time, and they're definitely the best group of people I've ever seen for learning each week. And each week they come and they're looking for more information and they're looking for more learning, and their guidance is superb. I don't think I've come away from a session going, oh God, you know, that wasn't a great session, or I haven't come away from a session going, you know, they didn't learn anything. They're always learning, they're always improving. But we've specifically, and I think the girls like that too, we've said it's a very open book. It's everybody's entitled to get some timing on the field. I mean, my view of the league is that if you don't play National League against the top teams, well then I can't expect you to come on in Championship and do something for us. So everybody has to get a little bit of a taste of high pressure football, and that's what I use the league for. And you know, we've gained so much information from ourselves, and it's not about information of other teams, because as I said already, other teams and ourselves won't be remotely like what we are in the Championship. And I don't even record games. I said this off air. I don't record games, and the likes of Maxie Curran up in Donegal was amazed when he came down that we weren't recording games or anything like that. But I simply don't record games because not one of us is going to be anywhere remotely the same come Championship. So, you know, looking back on a league match between ourselves and Cork, you know, won't be anyway remotely like what we'd be like in the Championship and so on and so forth. So I use that. I'm a big believer in the league being used for what it should be, is to blood players and to fine players. Absolutely.
And I suppose looking back to the first day of the league, we were speaking about this off air as well, and you came up against Westmeath, your native county, and you managed Westmeath to All-Ireland Intermediate final in 2011, the title in 2011. So that, I suppose, was kind of a weird day. Oh, that was a real heartstring one, because I even going through the motions, I found it hard to look at the Westmeath girls. Listen, we were in the trenches together, and when you've been in the trenches together working with someone, it's very hard to switch off all of a sudden. I mean, it was awkward moments in the thing. I mean, I have the height of respect obviously for my own county, and delighted obviously that they stayed up as well. And it was a good day for Westmeath as well, because they were coming to us. We were just after being in an All-Ireland final. We had 2 sessions done before we met them in the first round of the league. The likes of Fiona McHale wasn't there. A lot of the Carnacon girls weren't there. They just won in All-Ireland. They weren't back yet. And it was a good day for Westmeath to try. And I knew we were under pressure, and Westmeath really put it up to us. Westmeath will put it up to anyone. I mean, I do believe they're very, very close. Apart from the mauling they got from Donegal, which was a bad day at the office, they've been very competitive in every league match, and they're well due their Division 1, and that'll make them stronger coming into the Championship. And I personally wouldn't like to get them again in a Championship situation, obviously, but not even for that. I think they're very, really good quality players right across the way. So that was my hardest day, I have to say. Got out with the win, and to be honest, there was no celebrating involved, obviously, because it is what I have a job to do, and I'm Mayo now, full stop. So that was my job, and we came out with the points. But you know, you have to respect where you come from and what you do, and that's Westmeath through and through as well. So good stuff. And I suppose, look, Division 1 has been competitive. It's thrown up some really exciting games. I think one that really springs to mind is yourselves in Donegal, that absolute goal fest in Swinford.
Well, it was funny, halfway, or about 10 minutes into the second half, Maxie comes up beside us and I says, Maxie, did we need this? You know, it was a ding-dong game. Listen, if you're a spectator, you definitely would have loved it. And the amount of people who came back out said, you know, that was a super game of football. Listen, it was way too open probably for a manager's point of view, but at that stage we had nothing to lose, or they had nothing to lose, and we just went at it. The big thing for us, we had 9 individual scores in, you know, as a spread of scoring. Like, and when you score 4-16 and you have nine different scores on the board, I mean, that to me it spells that you're doing something right. Yes, we let a lot in, but to be honest, we've been very, again, learning as we go along, and me being a male coach, I had to learn the rules, number one, and the referees have been excellent with me, because I've asked a lot of questions of them, and I've read the rule book, and I've asked individual questions, and I have had a super relationship with it, because we're trying to, the one thing that Mayo had in the last couple of years was our foul count was so high that we're trying to change that, and that's been individualistic, and I've changed it around. Like, we played Cork the week before the Donegal match, and they only scored 3, maybe 4 from play. Everything else, we fouled them in the scoring zone. So we changed that for the Donegal game, and they only got 2 scoring chances from thing, which is a huge plus. But then we leaked goals. So it's to try and get the fine balance, because we are trying our best not to make sure we're not fouling. So we're standing off players quite a lot now, and you know, not committing the foul, because we feel it's very, very important to, if you want to play a flowing game, is to not give away scoring chances. So listen, it's the fine divide. The same way going on against Monaghan, we again stood off them. And we're kind of going, it sounds like Kevin Keegan when he was in Newcastle, we'll score more than you, and that was the kind of way for the last two league matches. And listen, we know we have to do things in the backs, but it's to get the fine line between not fouling and playing within the rules and still preventing the team from scoring. But going the other way, we're going well. Absolutely.
And I suppose that leads us on nicely to what you know I'm going to ask you. And Cora Staunton's home today, and I'm just wondering, has there been any contact, or have you been in touch with her at all?
Is she on today, Emma?
Did you not tell me that?
Yeah, no, I just actually, before I came in, I seen Crazy's tweet with her coming into Dublin Airport with 2 big bags. I hope she has a load of jerseys, Aussie Rules jerseys for everyone. Yeah, listen, Cora's back, and it's well documented that she doesn't know what she's going to do yet. So I have no real story for you in that I haven't been contacted by Cora, but we've texted each other over the AFL, wishing her the best of luck and so on and so forth. She had a job to do over there. She was playing professional football, so I mean that's a job in itself. And listen, I've been contacted by a lot of media over this issue, obviously, over being home, and you know, I think everybody's looking for a story, but there's no story as such. I mean, the way it's been left between me and Cora, and the way it is for anyone who's involved with Mayo, if there's a player out there who's capable and good enough to be on the Mayo panel, all they have to do is pick up the phone and ring me, and they'll be brought in. And that'll apply to Cora or to anyone else. I mean, Marta Carter came back in 2 weeks ago. She had a lot of things on, and she came back in 2 weeks ago, and she's playing catch up, but Marta will catch up very quickly. Absolutely. That's for sure. But like, she's working really, really hard. Obviously, she's not going to be involved in the league, but she'll be there ready, waiting for us in championship as well. And anyone who comes in has to fight for their place. You see the way we're moving the ball right now, and it's everybody's going to fight for their place. So, I mean, if the question you're asking, do I want Cora Staunton in? Well, bloody hell, I've documented that she's the best footballer, in my opinion, that's ever played the ladies' game. So, do I want her involved? If there was a draft like there was in the AFL, and she was number whatever on the draft, there isn't one county in Ireland who wouldn't want her.
Absolutely.
So is Peter Leahy any different? No. Now it's really up to Cora. You know, she's had a huge season over there. Before that, she's won an All-Ireland with Carnacon. Before that, she was in an All-Ireland final with Mayo. Does Cora want a break? Does Cora want to come straight back in? Does Cora, she publicly said that, you know, she couldn't believe that she wasn't missing football, but maybe that's because she needs a break. Everybody needs a break sometimes, so that's really going to be, listen, I know Cora, she sees a Gaelic football, she'll want to play it, and she'll go back to her club, which is a fantastic club, Carnacon, and you know, she'll kick football around with the girls, and the girls will probably annoy her as well, but she's very headstrong and she'll do her own thing. So if she comes in, whether do we want her part of Mayo football, whether she's playing, whether she's a substitute, or whether she's carrying the water bottles, it's irrelevant as long as she's part of the Mayo thing. Now, by the way, the water bottles is a pun. I wasn't meaning about the water bottles, but having said that, she'd be some water girl. Could you imagine?
She'd be brilliant.
Could you imagine her running into before a match, running into Sarah Rowe, for example, and someone marking Sarah Rowe, and Sarah Rowe turn around, yeah, she's only in the water, she wasn't good enough to get my place. Well, the girl marking her would absolutely die. That's only a pun, by the way. We're only having the crack, but no, of course, Cora's Cora, and Cora's a legend in her own right, and there's a reason why she made it so good over in the AFL playing a foreign game, and there's a reason for it, because she's an absolute professional. She knows me, I know her. It'll be very much, she's been looking for years and years and years for challenges, and that's why she went into the AFL, and it will be a challenge coming back in with us, because for once everybody else is going to step up. A lot of the problems is people, you know, the media and everybody else say, oh, well, it's the Cora. Well, it's been Cora because everybody else didn't step up. Now we've everybody else stepping up, so it's Cora can come in and do her job if that's what she wants to do. So does the dynamics change? Yeah, they will change, but they'll change for the better, and all the Cora ever wants is a challenge and for the best thing for Mayo. And the best thing for Mayo is obviously her being involved, but no one can stop her, say anything to her. She owes Mayo nothing. She owes me nothing. She owes no one nothing, only herself, because she's done everything in the game that's ever been done. So do I want her? It's just I'm not. I don't beg, but it's very close to begging at this stage.
No, groveling for you.
No, there's no groveling involved. There's no groveling involved. You know, Cora's Cora. She knows me. I know her. She can pick up the phone anytime, or she can text me anytime when it's training, and it'll just be, yeah, it's at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock. I'll see you there. It's not going to be no big deal about it, and I don't think she's going to make a big deal about it, because, you know, Maya's in her DNA, it's her blood, and that's it.
Of course. So your plan is just to give her space and see what she thinks.
Absolutely. The whole ball lies with Cora. I won't be ringing her, I won't be texting her, I won't be annoying her, and she knows me well enough that she just sends a text to say, Peter, when's training? It's at 7 o'clock this evening in Ballyhonus. See you there. That's the end of the story. Fighting to get into the team or not, the team, that's a separate issue, and that goes with whatever happens on the training ground.
Brilliant. So we'll all have to wait and see, basically.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Watch this space.
But look, as you've said, you know, lots of other girls have stepped up to the plate. Like if you look at the two Kelly sisters, Sarah, for example, like you wouldn't even notice the Cora's not there. Yeah,
well, 9 scores against Donegal, 8 scores individual scores against Monaghan. I don't think there's many teams or many setups who can say what we're saying about that. You know, listen, it's still only league. It's still only not only league, but it's still league time. It's still early.
Early days,
you know, we're in March. It is April. Sorry. Sorry. It is early days. We are moving the ball well, and you know, the girls are brilliant. I mean, the two Kelly sisters are brilliant. Sarah Rowe with Fiona McHale and the yoke. Fiona Doherty has been an unsung hero for us. But like, it's not just them. I mean, Sean Howley's come on and scored in every match. Young Amy Downing's come on and done a great job. We've forwards come, like, no matter what happens at the moment, our 6 forwards who start will never finish the game, because the game is changing as we speak, you know. And my goal this year was, and it was the problem that we had in the past, Mayo, was to have 22, 23 players, because you won't finish a game with 15 now that started. It's just not possible. The game is too fast. It's too I mean, Dublin destroyed us last year when they brought on a couple of players fresh in the All-Ireland final, and you know, that's, in fairness to Mick Bowen, he had them ready and waiting, and the key for what we're learning during this campaign, and what I'm trying to teach, I mean, is that everybody knows what everybody's supposed to do, and everybody's equal, and that's the real key. And I've learned an awful lot from, I'd be quite friendly with Joe Schmidt, and we would discuss things, and one thing I learned from him and learned from what he's done with Ireland is, it's not about the name of the person, it's about what everybody can do for their country or club or whatever, county or whatever the case may be. So whoever comes in does the equal job, or the fresh legs. I mean, for Joe Schmidt, for example, taking Johnny Sexton off, and Carby comes on and does the job, that's just the way it is. Everybody has to do a job.
And I suppose looking to last year, and obviously it did end in disappointment ultimately, but you're involved with a coach. Trith, as a coach, came in during the summer, I'm right saying that?
That's right, after the Connacht final.
Of course, and look, you picked yourselves rightly up from the Connacht final.
Well, I mean, in fairness, the work was done before I came in. I mean, DJ Collins is a phenomenal coach, and he had done so much work with the girls, and you know, we got a little bit of a fresh impetus. What I have found with these girls is they really only get good when it becomes pressure on. I mean, we were going okay in the league, and then when the last 2 games you have to win, the girls go and do it. So we seem to be brilliant when the back's against the walls, and that's what happened last year. They came on, and the last 8 or 10 weeks they just picked themselves up, and you know, they'd never been far away from the top 2, and got to the final this year, and we kind of blew ourselves out after the Cork game, in my opinion, on it. And there's no doubt about it, Mick Bowen got the better of us on the day, both on the sideline and on the pitch, and but we learned from that.
And I suppose there was a bit of war of words, even while the media kind of blew it up, I suppose, before that game. I'm going to ask you about it. Do you have any regrets about it? Or
no, listen, Mick was probably misquoted as saying that, you know, Cora basically acts in fouling and Mayo go down easy and they buy freeze and all. I mean, listen, it's just talk before an All-Ireland final. It's poppycock, really, to be quite honest with you, because none of that was happening. I was coaching at the time and there was no predetermined of any of that, and I did come back and, as you well know, put an article saying he was wrong, saying bringing Cora into disrepute, but that's only a war of words. Before an All-Ireland final, there was nothing to it, and you know, Mick would be the same as me. He'd be misquoted sometimes, I'd be misquoted sometimes. There's no malice in anything, and I know he respects Cora an awful lot, the same as anyone would. Same as me, Noel Healy is their star player, and I had Noel Healy in UCD when I was involved in UCD, and she's phenomenal. You know, could I say a bad word about her? No, it's not. She's just too good to say anything bad about. But listen, sometimes you'd misinterpret things when people say about man marking or about this, that, and the other. But listen, it's just a war of words. I wouldn't even go into it. You know, you wipe yourself off of these things and you don't get too excited about them.
Absolutely. But I suppose it added a bit of excitement as well. And
excitement for ye.
For us, of course, and for everyone at home, I suppose. But look, like yourself, we spoke about this off air too, yourself, Mick Bohan, there's plenty of other coaches there who have a background in the men's game and in other sports as well. And I suppose, how have you found that kind of transfer over, and how much has the ladies' game improved since you've been involved, do you feel?
Oh, it's I have to give huge credit to the LGFA, to Lidl, for the profile, for yourselves, 42, and everything else. I think Jerome obviously as well. It's been huge what's happened in the ladies' game. I mean, I was involved with Tullamore last year and senior football team, and I remember coming back from the Cork game, after the Cork game, and I was coaching Mayo, and all the lads, you know, brilliant game, and I was training the next day. Everybody had watched the game, you know, so the men are watching the game, and it's no coincidence that the top four or the top five managers this year in the league,
of course,
are all male orientated. I mean, Mick Bohan is involved in men's before he was in women's. Myself, Effie, and Maxie, like all involved in the men's. Is it hard to transfer over? Yeah, it is. The biggest thing is the rules, and adapting to the rules, and that's what Mick really scored on last year, because he really looked into the. And I've learned from that. Last year, I could be considered a little bit at fault for a lot of the big fouls that happened, because I came in with tackling like men, and in fairness to DJ Collins, he had them properly tackling, and I came in and I probably changed that, and we probably needed that a bit of aggression to get us to where we did, but ultimately it destroyed us in the All-Ireland final. So I'll take a bit of that on board, and you know, every day a loss is a learning day, and every day is a learning day for me, and that I learned an awful lot from that. And when I decided to go back and take the Mayo job, I mean, I was in for a senior football job, as men's job as well, and I decided to go back at this, number one, because they're the most adaptable people I've ever seen, and number two, I just felt I personally, as a coach, left a lot behind me, and I didn't do us justice last year, I don't think, and I learnt an awful lot that, and this year now the tackle is one of the major things, how we move the ball before contact, etc. But most important, what I'm trying to teach the girls is empower them to think on their feet and do what they need to do, and empower them to be the players that they need to be themselves. I mean, you can teach the skills and the coaching all you want, but they're the ones that have to make the changes or do the things on the pitch themselves. And you know, I'm a big believer in just going out and playing, but what I mean by that is empowering yourself to in every situation of what happens in a situation. You can do all the drills you want, you can do all the matches, but when it comes down to it, you have to be able to play football. I mean, there's this thing in ladies football that, you know, at the moment is driving me mad. It's this thing of matchups. You know, every manager, everything is obsessed with matchups, and you'll end up with 10 matchups on the field. You know, I believe if my cornerback is not good enough to mark the person that I put on, whether it be, doesn't matter who it is, if they're not good enough, they're not good enough. You're either good enough or you're not good enough to be on the team, and it shouldn't really matter who you're playing against or who you're on. You should be good enough to play your position and do your job. So the whole matchup things I find very funny, and this thing of names, and you know, this person's this, that and the other. Yeah, great footballers, but if your footballer that's opposite you is not good enough to take you, well then, you know, you can't be changing your game plan to suit theirs. And it's just part of empowerment. I'd like to empower my players to do their own thing.
Absolutely. And do you feel that the standard has increased an incredible amount as well?
It's phenomenal. I mean, I went back last year to do a session with Mayo, obviously late on in the year, and I was just blown away. I was blown away with the speed of the game. I mean, anyone who went to that game, even the Donegal game, the 2 weeks previous to the quarterfinals, and the speed of the game, and the Cork game was a fantastic game. Even the All Ireland final, even though Dublin, won it easily, the intensity of the game itself was huge. Like, you could literally, I was on the sideline and I couldn't catch my breath. So the girls, themselves, and let's be honest about it, they put the exact same effort in as the men. They put the exact same amount of time, the exact same amount of training, and it's a very, very, very fast-paced game. Don't forget, as ladies, we have to carry the ball further because we can't kick it as far as the men, etc., etc. Now, not that there's that much kicking going on in the men's game right now, but I'm just saying we have to carry the ball. We have to also kick from closer range, have to get scores from closer range. So ultimately, our fitness has to be higher than the men's. Do I think the standard has improved? I just think it's gone through the roof, and it's become one of the most attractive games to watch. I mean, not just because I'm involved in it, but I'd sit and watch a high-end ladies game. I was at the O'Connor Cup final, and what a game of football.
Absolutely.
What a game of football. It was just end-to-end stuff. Super game of football. I was at college men's games as well, and there wouldn't have been a fraction of what the girls in, and that's not trying to compare all the time. I'm just saying that the game has changed substantially, and a lot to do with the promotion of the game, but a lot to do with better coaching getting involved as well.
Of course. And I suppose looking forward to the weekend, obviously we've a few kind of big games in store, and not just even in Division 1, looking at the two Division 2 semi-finals between, say, Cavan and Waterford and Tip and Armagh. They're going to be thrillers as well, I feel. Yeah,
Cavan and Waterford, we're actually getting ready for a possible draw there, because it has to be decided on the day, so we have to do another scenario if it's a draw for our warm-ups, etc., because Burr doesn't have a warm-up area. So I mean, we have to take that scenario into case. I think there's a genuine chance of that happening in Cavan and Waterford. That's going to be an absolute cracker. Unfortunately, we won't get to watch it ourselves, but it's going to be a cracker. The other one on the other side, I mean, Tip Armagh, I don't know, is Armagh have their full contingent back. I don't know if Hannah's back or not as well, but Tip are going very well, and they're going to cause, and Armagh are going to cause a lot of upsets this year in the senior championship, I believe. So I'm looking forward to watching that. Well, I won't get to watch it, but I'll get to see it afterwards on tape or whatever. That should be a good game. Galway, obviously beating Dublin in the thing. Dublin, had 10 players away at the All Stars. Mick was away himself. I think they might have been caught in the hot, but don't sneeze at Galway. Galway have all the talent in the world, and they're as good a football team as there is out there. And we went down to Salt Hill and we won on the day, but we got lucky quite a lot. They were driving at us at the latter end of it, and probably should have got at least a draw out of it. So Galway are a very, very good side, and on their day can beat anyone. So I wouldn't be so sure who will win that side either. And
I think even regardless of this weekend, regardless of the finals, the league, we're looking forward to a really exciting summer of football. Yeah, I can't wait. To be honest, this is a bonus game for us. We're out just to play football, and we'll have a shootout with Cork. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm in no panic. The only thing that a league final will do for us is another 2 weeks of intense football to get another game in. I mean, that's not being disrespectful. That's where we're at. We know Cork and Dublin are the benchmarks. For us, all we want to do is match ourselves up against them and see how we go. And but the summer's what it's all about. We've Galway in the Connacht final, and everybody knows they're cracking games and can go either way no matter what happens. And then we're into a new and exciting system for the senior championship, which is in groups of 3. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. Absolutely, definitely. Well, look, we're all looking forward to it. Looking forward to it myself. Definitely. Well, look, thanks very much, Peter, for calling into the studio. Really appreciate the chat. And we're just going to switch over to a Skype call we had with Sarah Connealy from Galway yesterday. So she's representing Galway against Dublin in the final, or in the semi-final on Sunday, and she's also over the Clare Galway school team on Saturday in the junior All-Ireland final, and they won last Saturday in the senior All-Ireland final, so she's hoping for the senior junior double in the schools, and then obviously her own football on Sunday. Yeah, I suppose first of all, Sarah, congratulations on the All-Ireland PPS Senior C title win at the weekend with Coláiste Baile Chláir. So you beat Sculware from Trim, was it? 7-9 to 2-7 in the final, and kind of you had a massive second half.
Yeah, geez, you know, as the saying goes, it was a game of two halves. You know, Trim really put it up to us in the first half. It was 1-2 to 2-7 going in at half time. I suppose the girls didn't really kick off in the first half. Number one, I suppose Sculware didn't let them. And as I suppose they're only young girls, so nerves definitely played a part. But by God, geez, once they went out in the second half, they knew they had nothing to lose. They couldn't play any worse than what they were playing in the first half, so they kicked on and goals came like a tsunami. So they kind of, Sculware found it very difficult to come back from that. But credit to the girls, they showed serious character to lift their performance in the second half and come out with the win.
Absolutely, and I suppose what was said at half time, there had to have been a little bit of giving out, was there?
A lot of people say that. No, actually, we didn't shout at them. They knew themselves. Myself and Fabian Cooney, she also plays with the Galway team and teaches in the same school as me. So it's great to have the two of us there. You know, she takes some of the speech and I take some of it. So no, they knew that they hadn't played, and they were kind of hiding a little bit in the first half. So, you know, they just dug deep and kicked on, and they came out with the win, and delighted for them.
Absolutely, and look, there's another All-Ireland title on the line on Saturday, the junior team, so they're playing against, it's Killarney in Limerick on Saturday, is it?
They're playing against St. Bridget's from Killarney, and that is in Rathkeil in Limerick at 1 p.m. So any supporters for Coláiste Baile Chláir, please come out and support us. So yeah, no, that'll be an even bigger game. It's B, so junior B, so the standard's even higher again. And you know, we just about got over St. Catherine's of Armagh in the semi-final just by 2 points. So that was a heart in the mouth moment. They're towards the closing stages of that game, but I definitely think that game will stand to the girls in the final. And a lot of the girls were playing last weekend, so they'll be tired bodies this week, but they're young, they'll kick on, and they're raring to go again for next Saturday. So they've got a taste of success from last weekend, so they're keen to kick on again.
Of course, there, and I suppose so the junior senior double that's on. But and you touched on a few of the girls playing on both. Is there a number? Do you have the number exactly of how many?
Well, from last weekend's panel, there'll be 8 senior girls that wouldn't be eligible for junior. So that's just to give you an idea. And there'd be a few girls that had come into the junior panel then that wouldn't be on the senior panel. So it's great for the school. You know, there's loads of girls, I suppose, thanks to the clubs and Down and Clare Galway, you know, it really takes community spirit, the grassroots. At grassroots levels there, girls have been playing since under 6, under 8s, and you know, it's the coaches that have been doing the work with them from then on, and I suppose they come into the school then. I suppose we just put it together, and it's great to see that there's such enthusiasm for the sport in our school, and hopefully they'll kick on now and win the final again on Saturday, fingers crossed.
Absolutely, and I suppose, Sarah, you have your own big one on Sunday, so you guys are playing against Dublin in the league, the semi-final, of course, and that's in Kinnegad. 3 o'clock, it's part of a double header, so there's an Division 2 semi-final on beforehand, and then Galway and Dublin go head to head for a spot in the league final, so obviously all eyes on that. Sleep's very important this week anyway for myself and Fabian, but no, looking forward to it. You know, we're under no illusions, like I know we overcame them in the league, but we'll have to up that performance another level. I suppose Dublin's preparations going into that game wouldn't have been the best, in the sense that, you know, there was a number of girls involved in the All-Star trip, so we're under no illusions that Dublin are going to bring an A game the next day, and I suppose they're the All-Ireland champions, so we're delighted to be playing the best team in the country, and we'll look forward to putting up a battle against them. Of course, and I suppose it is nice to have that little bit of confidence going in that you are the only team to have beaten them in 2018 so far.
True, yeah, listen, but you know, every game is different. You learn from every game that you play. You know, we just got over Westmeath, and that game, I suppose we reflected on that, and we've plenty to work on again. So, you know, it's a continuous process. We're just looking forward to playing the game, getting stuck in, and hopefully come out the right side of it.
Of course, and Sarah, Galway's campaign to date, it's kind of been a bit mixed. You know, there have been lots of ups, but there have been a few downs too, and it's kind of the same across the board in Division 1. It's been so competitive.
Yeah, true. And I suppose, you know, management, or, you know, the league is an opportunity to play players, and I suppose to get a feel for what championship team they're thinking of putting forward. And it's great that, like, majority of, I think all of our panel have got game time, and that's what you want. You know, girls want matches, and with that, then obviously some games will be compromised in the sense that, you know, you're not going to always, you know, girls are competing for places, and, you know, you have to give girls opportunities. So every game is going to be different. Every game we're going to learn something new. But yeah, we're just, I suppose, looking forward to playing the weekend, and hopefully aim for a final position.
Of course, and looking at kind of the young talent in Galway, there's been a lot of names coming to the fore over the last few months, and even years, and underage teams having success, and even yourselves, the school teams too. You know, that obviously Galway ladies football in Galway is in a good place at the minute.
Yeah, true. And, you know, credit to the clubs, credit to the schools. They're doing huge work behind the scenes from underage up, and it's definitely coming through, you know, the under 16s and the 14s minor. So there's plenty of talent there. It's just I suppose, kicking on now, and making sure, I suppose, girls tend to drop off at the age of 17, and it's keeping them encouraged to play, and hopefully feature in the senior panel.
Of course, and then I suppose yourself keeping everything going, life on and off the field. Do you find it tough? I know obviously your commitments with school teams as well as intercounty and club and whatnot. Do you find it difficult, or is it kind of something you've just always known?
Well, listen, I love it. So it's half the battle. If you enjoy doing something, it doesn't seem like a chore. Definitely, time management. You know, when you have to do your sessions, your training sessions, and meet with the school teams and train them and whatnot. But listen, I love it, so it makes it enjoyable, and that's why you take part, I suppose. So yeah, just, I suppose, you find time for things that you love.
Absolutely. And I suppose then just finishing off with the school, it seems like it's quite a sporting school. Obviously there's plenty of links there, yourself, Fabienne as well, and then is Damien Comer there too on placement, am I right? Yeah,
Damien Comer's there. Lisa Gannon is also there.
Brilliant.
And Lorraine Ryan, who's involved with Galway Camogie, Finton O'Curry, Cyril Donald was involved with Galway Hurlers last year in the All-Ireland success. So yeah, I suppose it's great to have those people involved in the school, and it's nice to pick up tips off them too.
Of course, and I suppose no shortage of inspiration even for the students as well looking on.
Hopefully, yeah, I think that's part that falls into place itself, yeah.
Of course. Great stuff. Thanks so much, Sarah, and best of luck now this week. So that's all we have time for this week on the Ladies Football Show. Thank you very much to our two guests, Sarah Connealy on Skype and Peter Leahy for calling into the studio. And thanks to you guys at home for watching. Tune in next time. We'll be back soon for more Ladies Football chat. Thank you.